Late on the night of February 2026, a joint U.S.-Israeli military operation sent high-precision munitions through the night sky over Tehran. They targeted the residential compound of Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. The strike vaporized the core of the Iranian state. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed instantly. The explosions also claimed the lives of his wife, his senior lieutenants, and multiple family members who formed the state's tightest decision-making circle. The command structure of the Islamic Republic was entirely decapitated. This chart tracks Brent Crude, the leading global benchmark for Atlantic Basin oil prices. Within hours of the assassination, global energy markets panicked over the prospect of an uncontained regional war, and prices shot straight from a $73 baseline to $120 a barrel. Western planners anticipated that wiping out the top leadership might cause the weakened Iranian regime to fracture and fall. Instead, the sudden vacuum at the top forced a rapid reorganization of the state into a military-first command structure. In a matter of days, the assassination birthed a ruthless military dynasty, one that is now holding global trade hostage to guarantee its own survival. Choosing a new supreme leader requires a vote from the Assembly of Experts, an 86-member body of clerics. But with Israeli airstrikes actively hitting their building in Qom, the Assembly was forced to hold the most critical vote in the nation's history completely online. They selected Mojtaba Khamenei, the late leader's second son. By passing absolute power directly from father to son, the clerics effectively recreated the hereditary rule of the Shah, the exact monarchical system the 1979 revolution was designed to destroy. Mojtaba spent decades as an unelected shadow operator. He only held the rank of Hojat al-Islam, a mid-level clerical status, well below the rank of Ayatollah normally required to lead. What he did have were ironclad connections to the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Iran's elite military and intelligence branch. At least 8 clerics boycotted the virtual session to protest the dynastic handover. In response, IRGC commanders exerted immense psychological and political pressure on the remaining assembly members to force a rapid decision, arguing the country could not survive a leadership vacancy during wartime. The theologians lost the room. Constitutional rules were discarded to install a hardline wartime commander strictly acceptable to the security state. Mojtaba inherited a country actively burning from the inside out. This map illustrates the domestic rebellion. Fueled by shortages, protests spanned 675 locations across 31 provinces. The state's response was absolute suppression, firing live ammunition into crowds. Simultaneously, the regime throttled the internet, plunging civilian connectivity down to 1%. The kinetic crackdown resulted in a staggering human toll. By early March, the state had killed over 7,000 confirmed civilians and arrested nearly 54,000 more. To terrorize the population further, the regime utilized bullet compensation. They refused to release the bodies of slain protesters until families paid for the ammunition used to execute their children. This extreme violence is radicalizing the opposition. In the West, Kurdish factions have organized an armed coalition explicitly dedicated to toppling the state, launching lethal attacks on IRGC members. Mojtaba's grip on power relies entirely on treating his own starving, protesting population as an enemy combatant force. But his military apparatus is crumbling from within. A severe operational divide has emerged between the Artesh, Iran's regular national army, and the elite IRGC. This chart compares resource allocation between branches. The IRGC is hoarding technical and medical supplies, systematically starving the regular army. Logistical failures are absurd. Frontline regular units report being issued just 20 bullets for every 2 soldiers, alongside severe food shortages. Pushed to the breaking point, Artesh forces are executing mass desertions. Soldiers are abandoning their posts, leaving bases to seek refuge or flee the country. Mojtaba is attempting to fight a massive multi-front war against the US and Israel and his own citizens, using a military machine that is actively fracturing in two. Mojtaba's first strategic order as supreme leader was the indefinite closure of the Strait of Hormuz. He formally redefined the waterway as a national security lever to be used for extracting reparations from the West. This map shows the exact geographic layout of the strait. It is the most critical maritime choke point on Earth, handling 20% of all seaborne crude oil and liquid fuels globally. Blocking it cuts off a fifth of the planet's energy supply. The financial contagion was instant. In Asia, prices for LNG, liquefied natural gas used for heating and electricity, doubled overnight. In Europe, natural gas futures spiked by 30%, threatening a massive global recession. To bypass Western pressure, Mojtaba is pivoting his foreign policy entirely toward Russia and China. Moscow is already providing targeting intelligence, while Beijing explores sending financial aid and military spare parts. The regime has also grown quiet regarding its previous religious rulings against nuclear weapons. With stockpiles of weapons-grade material already on site, the silence suggests a new readiness to finish the nuclear cycle.